Hey y'all, it's Andrew Reed with Mossy Creek Mushrooms, and today let's answer that age-old question. Should I be making my own grain spawn, or should I be buying it? Well, there's pros and cons to both, but first of all, let's just go over buying, right? Because buying's what I typically recommend people do when they're first starting off. There's good reasons for this. The biggest one is that you don't have to do it yourself. And in beginnings, which are the most precious of times, you aren't going to have a lot of time to do everything yourself. Especially if you're jumping in this, with both feet first, which, I always suggest people go as slow as they can afford to go. This said, beyond that convenience of having someone else make something for you, you are typically hiring a professional to do it. Hiring a professional to make the spawn for you comes with pros of it itself. One is, you typically are getting something that's pretty good quality that you can get on the regular, and typically these guys are big enough that you can get spawn consistently. This is one of the reasons why one day I hope to become a spawn company, but right now I'm not a spawn company. The big reason is that I don't have the infrastructure in place to produce massive amounts of spawn. So typically, we sell spawn till I fall behind, we turn it off on the website, it's sold out for a little bit, we get caught up, we start selling it again, we go back into it again. That's all going to change one day. Can't promise when. But there are a few other companies that sell really good strains. Typically, the stuff that I've used as parent stock in some of my new strains that, allow you to get really good, consistent commercial results. I like to suggest Lambert's Spawn Company is really good. They've got about 3 oysters, a brown, a gold, and a blue. They get you a lot of variety right off the bat. And they sell bulk amounts of spawn, which means you can order like a 60-pound case for like $120, something like that, shipped to your door. Don't quote me on the price exactly, but that 60 pounds of spawn goes a long way. And, you get a case of blue, a case of brown, and a case of gold, you're set for a very long time, right? It's like 180 pounds of spawn, and you've got 3 different colors. It's going to be pretty good at a farmer's market. That said, you want more diversity. Go to places like Northspore and Main Cap and Stem. I haven't used these guys in a very long time because I primarily make all of our own spawn. But I know Eric and Tyler up at Main Cap and Stem, I know they produce good quality work. Northspore I know has a large selection to choose from, so you get a larger than normal, diversity that you can grow. Plus, they do some discount spawn. Main Cap and Stem actually sell some of my strains, so maybe check them out if you want spawn of my strains and you can't get any spawn from me. Now, all of this to say, those are the 2 big pros to ordering spawn from someone. The cons. The big one is just price. You're going to pay a premium for having someone else make your spawn. That's just the way it goes. And you're paying it for a highly skilled labor person to make it, and then have it shipped to you. And, not to mention that spawn it's a competitive marketplace, but it's really competitive for the consumer, which means that prices are kind of high, and that's really what it comes down to. The second con, I would say, is lower diversity. It doesn't matter, Main Cap and Stem does have a good diversity, Northspore has a really good diversity of strains that you can purchase. But it's not even as much as you can get from someone like myself, or in liquid culture form, or from Lenny Rockwell, that you can get in liquid culture form. We offer a much larger diversity. Ours is about to explode, because I've got a whole bunch of wild oysters that are coming on there. Real quick, before I go into the pros and cons of producing spawn yourself, I want to just talk to you guys real quick about Mother of Pearl. I've been really impressed with Mother of Pearl. I've been growing this strain for over a year. It's a combination. I think its initial designation was BS5, which means it was the 5th strain that it was cloned during a blue and snow cross. The blue would have been Lambert's 1, 2, 3. The snow would have been the Northspore Snow Oyster. We've had a lot of good crosses, a lot of good strains come out of that cross. Mother of Pearl's a weird one. We get a lot of emails about it, so I just want to talk about it real quick. And I may do a strain-specific video on it one day. But I can show you right here, here or here, I'm not sure which one, of how Mother of Pearl grows. It grows weird. The pin set comes out, it looks ugly. It looks like your CO2 has gone through the roof. It looks, it's got nice electric blue pins, but it definitely has kind of an ugliness about it whenever it's in pin form. And then, as it matures, trust me, people, you do not want to pick it when the caps are perfect. This is one of those strains you want to let it kind of flip up. It will flip up and it will turn pearly white. You know mother of pearl is ready to pick when it is pearly white. I mean, just look at this. They're beautiful. They still grow every which way. It's definitely a weird one. I think we've got that same fly coming to visit us. Or maybe because I turned the air conditioning off and now that fly is flying over here. But it's just not going to leave me alone. Anyways, but the mother of pearl is just so beautiful. It comes out growing every which way like it doesn't know which way is up and down. It will fix itself. It will right itself and it will turn a delicate, pearly white. And the mushroom is just delicate and it's so big and fills a box so well. Mother of pearl is absolutely the way to go. Now, let's go into the pros of liquid culture. The big pro is diversity, right? Now, let's say that you order syringes from myself, Lenny Rockwell, or some other reputable liquid culture company. Like there are any besides me and Lenny. Just playing. But the real big thing is you can order a 10 milliliter syringe, put 5 milliliters in a quart jar. That makes 50 new syringes for you, and then 5 milliliters in a grain bag. And now you have grain spawn on the way, and 50 more syringes that you can use. You can use 10 milliliters at a time in a grain bag, and you're going to have 50 more bags that you can produce out of that. I mean, it's just fantastic. So, anymore, the cost is negligible. Anymore, the diversity that you can get by having a liquid culture library, and then you're like, oh, you know what? In a couple of weeks, I want to be growing mother of pearl. I want to be growing blue oyster. I want to grow gold. I want to grow this cool touch oyster. What is this really about? Cool touch is another one that came out of the mother of pearl. It's kind of like the mother of pearl, except it fades white with a blue stripe around it. It keeps the blue stripe. That's how you know that one's ready. That all of this said, diversity is key when you're at the farmer's market. It is key for keeping diseases from just sweeping through your room. Certain mushrooms are going to be better at performing in less quality conditions, and you won't know that until you've tried the diversity. So being able to just go, I cooked 12 bags of grain last night. I'm going to grow 12 different strains. Pull my syringe, squirt it in the bag, seal the bag, and let it sit. Done! You're done. You have produced a bag of spawn, right? So as long as you've got that pressure cooker to cook the liquid culture jars in the first place, you're going to be able to cook grain, and you're going to be able to produce whatever variety you want in almost an endless supply. And it's going to be way cheap. That's the second pro. Grain spawn, when you produce it yourself, it's like $5 total when you include your labor, right? It's like the material cost and the labor cost are not what makes grain spawn so expensive. It is the fact that it is a product with a very short shelf life and a very high demand in the marketplace. So if you can create your own, you can lower the cost, increase your diversity. That's just two of the really, really big ones. I'll say on the third one, it gives you a lot of quality control. Back in the day when I was ordering spawn a lot, and I've heard this is still happening, when you order a strain from somebody, like a big box of spawn, it's putting off a little bit of heat. But now imagine it's like hot outside right now. It's like 95 degrees outside. That box is going to be riding that truck all day, baking. It is going to be less quality spawn than what you could have if you could produce it in yourself and it never left the air conditioning. So, I mean, in my opinion anymore, I used to say buy spawn in. And I still think that there are good reasons to buy spawn. Like if you just don't have time to make your own, to learn the skill set of making your own. But if you have just a little bit of time, liquid culture erases most of the time commitment. It's pull syringe, put syringe in. As long as you've got good clean liquid culture, you're producing good clean spawn. And if you're producing a variety of liquid cultures and a variety of spawns, you've increased your chances of always having good work because of the fact that if one jar goes bad, you just don't use that jar, you use the other jars that are proving clean. And those will produce. And let's say, like, I produce 12 bags of spawn, I need those 12 bags of spawn, 11 of them are good, one went bad. You take one bag and you put it in twice as much substrate. You just stretch it a little thinner. it works still. It works very well. If you need it in a hurry, you can take your grain spawn and expand it. Like, make it with a liquid culture, use that as a master, a G1 master, and now expand that into a whole bunch of bags of grain spawn. And that does grow in faster than liquid culture inoculated spawn. Liquid culture inoculated spawn is something like, you squirt it in about 5 days later. I like to squirt it along the back, so that all the liquid culture slides down the plastic, and that way I can see the growth. When I see that growth, I just pull it off the shelf, put it on the table, shake that stuff up, and you're good to go. Right? Put it back on the shelf, it grows in super quick. That said, if I need spawn in a hurry, I will take that bag and I will expand it into multiple other bags. Makes it simple. Another reason why you can why I would make your own grain spawn is if you want a grain choice. There's not a lot of people out there that make oat grain spawn. I make corn spawn sometimes. We have made other types of spawn. We're about to try a sorghum. There are people who do millet. Ben built a Thor bagger for someone wanting to use German millet grain spawn. If you're producing your own spawn, you get choice of grain, choice of species, choice of strain, choice of timing, choice of how much diversity you have, and you have control over the quality. So, in my opinion, there are just so many more pros to making your own spawn, particularly now that we have infrastructure. It's not like it was in the old days when I first started, and you had very few good purveyors of spawn. You had spawn providers, they may take 10, 12 weeks, you know, and I get that because I'm still at like the 6-week mark for shipping for my grain spawn. That said, a lot of these other guys are making it in mass and then selling what they already have in stock. And this comes with pros and cons on its own, but it does mean that you typically get it a lot quicker than in the old days. That said, I still just don't think that with the advent of the airport lid and liquid culture being so easy to produce clean work now, that there's any reason to not be producing your own spawn, save if you're in the beginning stages and you really just want that convenience of being able to produce, that convenience of not having to produce spawn, just producing your fruiting blocks, and not having to think about that for a little bit. What I would suggest is, get in, start making blocks, producing your blocks, growing your mushrooms. Then, once you've got that down, start looking at making your own spawn. But it is so easy, and it'll save you so much money. Even if you're buying it at a discount, I think North Force sells their discount spawn for $16.50 a bag. Okay, $16.50 a bag for grain spawn. That's not a bad price. It's discount spawn, so it's not the best. It's past it's really coming close to its end of life usage, but it still works. I've used it plenty of times. So let's say you take that $16.50 bag and you use it. Well, for the same size bag, I can produce it for $5 or less for myself, right? So that $5 or less, that still saves you $11.50 per grain bag. That's a pretty significant savings every week. If you're doing 6 bags, that's over $60. It's like 66. It's like almost $70 a week saved. That's eating out a few times. That's getting a meal a few times. That's taking your kids out for dinner. So not something to sneer or snub your nose at. No looking down at it. Really, guys, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to do this quick video for you because I've had a lot of questions about whether or not, people should be making their own grain spawn or whether they should still be buying, since there are good companies to buy from. And my answer is it depends, but if you can make your own grain spawn and you can do it reliably, you should do it. And of course, we offer consultation. If you want a 1-hour consult to just, go on the website, schedule some time with me. I will do a 1-hour consult on how, you go from liquid culture to grain bags to fruiting blocks. We can do that really quick and easy, and I can get you guys into some very usable information. But also, we have YouTube videos that I would go check out first before doing that consult. So make sure you go check out our previous series on liquid culture. So check out those videos on how to make liquid culture before you schedule your time. I also have a grain spawn video on how to make that. That goes more in depth into the how of these things. I just wanted to go over the why. So with that, y'all, keep spawning culture.